Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the invitation to the organizers. It's my pleasure to be here at the International Conference on Tropical Science, Contributions to Sustainability, and more specifically, I'm very happy to be at the panel of Youth Resilience in the Tropics. I'm Clarisa Rios Rojas. I'm from Peru, and I'm a molecular biologist, but after finishing my PhD, I decided to jump into government science advice and science diplomacy. Nowadays, I work at the Center for the Study of Existential Risk at the University of Cambridge, and I'm like the bridge between science and policy making for my center. And so today I was asked to bring some sort of advices based on my professional path. So I'm going to be sharing, I think, 3 points with you, and I'll be very happy to be contacted and receive some questions from you once I'm done. So I'm going to make myself very small now. Let me see if I can do that. Yes, perfect. So I think that one of my first advices will be to rely on the power of mentoring. I think that all of us, if we are lucky enough, have had good mentors through our life, being a teacher at university, at this high school, or in our own laboratories, or in our group where we are working. And I think that at each step of our careers, we should be trying to switch mentors and try to seek for new type of advices that are more interdisciplinary, intergenerational, and that allow us to grow as a person. And one of the things that I experienced during my life was that I had, most of the time, not always, really good role models. So when I was finishing my PhD, I thought that in Latin America, we didn't have this opportunity so much. It's very common there that professors at university are seen like in a very high level in the clouds, and the students don't feel comfortable talking about their fears, their questions, and they even feel ashamed to ask for help and some mentoring. So what I decided to do then in 2015 was to create a blog. It was a blog at the beginning. And in this blog, I will be sharing all my experiences abroad, how I found a scholarship to go to Finland, how without a scholarship in Finland, I could find master in Sweden and then find side jobs that will allow me to work and study, then how I found a job in Germany, and then how I finally got connected to my future boss in Australia. And I thought that all these stories were worth mentioning, so they could show to people that was younger than me that there are pathways, the different ways and routes that we can follow for achieving our academic dreams. And when I was finishing my PhD, I decided to create this blog that later turned into a big organization that was focused on giving mentorship to Latin American students and young professionals. And the name is called Ekpapalek, which means teaching a little kid to give the first steps in the lengua Shiwilo, which is a language from the Amazon in Peru. So very, very tropical. And that experience was absolutely amazing. I say we because it started with me just sharing things in a blog, and then it started with me giving mentorship to anyone that needed, to bring a group of my friends to get together and say like, okay, we're gonna become mentors and we're gonna share our stories, share how we made it, what we have learned from our own paths during these studies and working abroad. And that's what we did. We started with 6 mentors, and then at some point we became like 50 mentors, and all of us working together, helping Latin American talent. And you can read a little bit more about that in an article I wrote for Nature that talks about the need for giving mentoring in the languages that the students speak. And at one point, we were offering mentoring not only in Spanish, but also in Portuguese and in Quechua, which is a language that the Inca civilization spoke and is still spoken in different parts of Latin America. And I think that with this, what I want to say is that there are 2 things that I will encourage you to do. 1, to find a mentor, And second of all, if you don't have these platforms to start a mentoring program in your university or in your community, you can start the program. Make be you the driving force that can bring these type of platforms and help to your community, and then grow together and take it from there. I learned the process, and it was an amazing experience that I had to finish, unfortunately, like 1 or 2 months ago due to other commitments, but it was fantastic, and all of us are quite happy with what we achieved. Second of all, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the power of using science for broader society. And when I say this, I mean all the good things that you can do outside your laboratory or outside your field work or outside being enclosed in a university, just focusing on your research. And I say this because this pathway really helped me to become a better professional, to find new passions. When I finished my PhD, I really wanted to do something that had more global impact, and it was very aligned with global priorities. And this discovery journey really helped me to achieve that and reach the University of Cambridge and work at the Center for the Study of Existential Risk. Here, there are just some pictures that remind me of some of the highlights that allow me to do this process. One of them was to join the Global Young Academy, which is, I'm sure you have like the National Academy in your country. So the Global Young Academy is the same, an academy for people that is working on science, that are academics, social science, life sciences, and then we work together doing different projects. And some of the projects that I work on were on government science advice, women empowerment, what is the current situation of young scientists in Latin America, and many of these type of programs. And I met really amazing people that is ready to work for the planet and to make it better. And I think that this was amazing. Some of the other things that I also did when I finished my PhD was to push myself out of my life science, comfort zone, and go to international conference that were focused on global governance, on politics, on human rights, on education for sustainable development goals. And here there are some pictures when I have been, for example, joining the Eisenhower Fellowship in the US, or when I was a UNESCO delegate, learning more about the sustainable development goals and the education behind it. Here's a picture also at the World Science Forum, where I've been in 2 World Science forums, the one for peace that was amazing in Jordan, and there were a group of scientists thinking about how can we bring peace through science and through science diplomacy, and it was really amazing. There is another picture that I went to the Forum for Women in Science in Egypt, and I was fascinated by seeing the amount of women working on different fields, and I learned from them. And like breaking up stereotypes that you have in your mind is also such a wide opening for my life and for my future decisions. And also I made an effort to be part of international organizations. For example, I became a reviewer for the IPPR, and then by then this organization was working with the United Nations, developing a scientific agenda for the UN Secretary Office. So I was one of the reviewers for that. I also joined the Geneva Center for Security Policy, which is an organization that is training civil servants and diplomatics about different issues. So I was training them in topics of technology and how society perceives technology, what are the risks of some type of technology. I also work at the European Commission, working on science and technology studies. And for someone that comes from life science, pure molecular biology and biology, it was really tough, but it was also so enriching. And I want to share these feelings that I have of gratitude to all these experiences. And these experiences came because me trying to push myself out of my comfort zone as a scientist. And I'm sure that if you also do that, you will be quite happy with the results. Right now, I'm working at, as I said, at the University of Cambridge, and part of my role is to think about how we can go from knowledge into action. And we produce a lot of research and knowledge in terms of What are global catastrophic risks? What are the events that are going to make humanity to collapse? What are the events that are affecting not only humans, but the whole biodiversity that we have in the planet, and what we can do to manage it, to prevent it, and also to mitigate it if we are a little bit too late. And during the last year and a half, for example, I have produced a report that I encourage all of you to go and take a look. It's called Pathways to Linking Science and Policy in the Field of Global Risk. The field of global risk is really an excuse to show how we as scientists, academics can work with other stakeholders, which can be government, could be technological companies, it could be citizens, and then together try to change policies that are going to affect citizens in our country and globally. In this report, you're going to find different routes and pathways that different academics have followed in order to do some impactful actions. And also you're going to have a checklist of things that you can do before, during, and after your research in order to think and to put your lenses of impact in policy. And I think this is something that could be used by many academics, and it's going to be very good, because at the end, what we want with all these different stakeholders is to co-create, to co-produce, and to co-disseminate research and policy. And the earlier you start, I think it's going to be the better. And the second picture on the right shows what we are actually doing between last week and this week, which is to create a resilient global catastrophic risk science and policy interface. And what we are doing is to gather academics and put them together with policy brokers, policy makers, and make them talk to each other, make them understand what are the limitations, what are the aims, what can research produce and give to policy that can be beneficial, what can policy do that can make research more useful, how can I reframe my research in order to think ahead and said, like, this, my government is going to be using it, so I'm going to produce this within this year, I'm going to have some feedback from them, and then I'm going to produce evidence and scientific facts that are going to be actually useful and are going to change the future of my own country. So I think that this is very needed, not only for global risk, but also for what you want to achieve in this conference. What do you personally and individually want to achieve from coming to this conference? You want to make change, you want to do something different, you want to keep what you are doing but enhance it. So I think these type of conversations and collaborations are definitely worth considering for the future of your career and the future of your institutions and the future of your governments. And I think with that, I'm going to finish because I don't have much time. Thank you so much for being this late and listening to my presentation. And of course, you can reach out to me or to our center. I'm leaving there the website and my personal website where all my social media and emails are there. So please reach out, and looking forward to meet you. Thank you so much, and I wish you a great day ahead.